Hey everybody, welcome back to the next part in my dialing in series for our Line 6 Helix. This is an exciting one as 2.8 firmware has just been released, and it's something that a lot of folks have been waiting for. So I thought about what could I do as my first dialing in using something from the new latest firmware update. So I wanted to dive in and do a dialing in video using the Revv Generator 120, or as we know it in the Helix now as the Revv Gen Red. So I haven't ever played one of these amps in real life. I've read a little bit about them, and from what I understand, this is channel 4 of it, I believe, with more channels coming. I gotta tell you, my first impression is this is a really incredible amp model for distortion sounds. It's incredible. I mean, it can go very, very, very heavy, but it also does some really nice, just, you know, overdriven rock tones as well. So very versatile. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to do one snapshot with a snapshot I'm calling heavy, but very shortly, or even maybe now, depending on how things were released, I'm going to have an entire 6 snapshot preset up in the marketplace for anybody who wants to purchase that. And it's going to go all the way from dialing in 6 snapshots with this amp model, right from sort of a medium gain, working up medium gain plus, heavy, heavy plus, extreme, and extreme plus. So if you guys want to kind of have a bunch of sounds at your fingertips with the Revv, you can go check out my preset in the marketplace. Like I said, it might be up now by the time this is released, or it might be a few days before it's up there, but I'll kind of put out a notice when it is up for anybody who's interested. But for now, let's take a look. I'm going to have this one up for free on Custom Tone. You guys can grab this and play around with it. It's really kind of cool. And there's a couple other neat little things I've done in this one with some of the other pieces of the 2.8 update. I also did a performance video with this. I actually just picked the song Sad But True by Metallica and used this particular preset. I don't know why. I wasn't trying to copy that tone before anybody says anything that it doesn't sound exactly like the record. It just seemed to work. And so what I did on that performance video you're hearing is this snapshot with the delay, the Elephant Man delay, which is what I have, we'll look at that in a second, turned off for the 2 rhythm guitars, which I panned hard left and right. And then I did the solo with the Elephant Man delay turned on, tap tempoed to the tempo of the song, and played. So you hear, mostly it's just 2 guitars, panned hard left and right. If you want to hear just one, just listen to one earphone or pan your speakers to one side or the other. And then it's the lead pretty much slightly off center in the mix. All right, so let's go over to HX and take a look what we have. So here's the little template I'm using. You'll notice something else is that my split crossover block that's normally used in most of my, in my template and most of my presets is no longer there. And that's because we have our new tilt EQ and shelf EQs. So that's going to be a really cool feature. That's one of the things I was most excited about. In this, I chose to use the tilt EQ, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But let's go to the end of the chain for now. I have my normal LA Studio comp, peak reduction 5.5, gain of 5, mix of 100%. That's fine. What do I have here? Parametric EQ, not really being used for anything but the low cut at 80 Hertz and the high cut at 9.1 kilohertz. I don't know why it's 0.1. I probably meant to put it at 9 and it went to 9.1. Regardless, that's not going to be much of a noticeable difference. The Verb, I just have a room Verb, decay of 4.5, mix of 30%, just to kind of make it feel like it was being played in a room. Like I mentioned, I have a delay here that's going to be set more on the stomp pedal board mode rather than snapshots. You can turn it on and off with the foot switch is assigned to one of them. And I just have the Elephant Man on set to a quarter note, feedback of 21%. The mode is chorus and the depth, and that's 0.7. I don't really know if I even touched that, but the mix was 24%. So that sounded kind of nice. I have the tilt EQ. Now, I'm going to have another video either the same time this is released or maybe the next day. It could be tomorrow if you're watching this. The day it was released, explaining more about the tilt EQ. But I did a video discussing this. And basically what a tilt EQ does, it allows us to pick a center point or a center frequency and either boost all the frequencies above that while slightly lowering all the frequencies below that, or the opposite, right? So if, let's say we picked 1 kilohertz and we said everything above 1 kilohertz I want to be a little louder, and everything below I want to be a little softer, rolled off versus boosted. We can do that. So it's kind of picking a center point and then either, you know, rolling off the lows below that center point and boosting the highs, or vice versa, right? So what I chose here is I chose a center frequency of 550 hertz, and I tilted it so that the treble frequencies, all the frequencies above 550, we're going to get a bit of a boost, right, to what the setting of 40 is here. And we'll listen to it with that on and off, okay? As far as the cab goes, I did a 412 Cali V30. I believe that's the stock cab that comes up when you pull up the Revv amp, and I went with a 160 ribbon mic at 3 inches back. Now, here's the amp settings. We have drive, bass, mid, treble, presence, channel volume, master volume, nothing too different there. Down here we have sag, hum, ripple, bias, bias, X. I did not touch those deeper functions, but we also have resonance and aggression. Now, I looked up in the manual, basically, about the Revv Generator, and in the manual I found, I didn't see much about the resonance. They did have something about the contour, not sure if that's the same thing or not. But the aggression is just basically 3 modes. We can go, you know, 0, 1, 2, or 0, 1, or 2 on the Helix. Basically, you're going to get more gain saturation and a slightly different EQ curve from what I read in the manual. Okay, and that was kind of, I heard that as well. So obviously the higher settings, you're gonna have a more aggressive sound. If you want a higher gain, you'd go there. For this one, I'm on number 1. Okay, we'll dive into those and take a look at them in a minute. Resonance was really bringing a nice sort of nice round bottom end into it the higher it was. So very nice kind of a extra EQ type of a control that we can put in, and we'll see how that sounds as well. Okay, so here are the settings I used. I had my drive at 6.9. There's lots of gain on tap in this amp model. Bass at 10, mids at 5.6, treble at 8.4, presence at 8.1, channel volume at 6.9, master at 6.0. Resonance at 7, and aggression at 1. So let's do this. Let's turn everything else off. I'll leave the Revv on. Tilt EQ off. And this is just the amp with that slight bit of room Revv with these settings. Quite nice as it is. Okay, well let's now bring in our LA Studio comp at the end. All right, let's bring our EQ in just with our low and high cuts. Okay, so you see it smoothed it out quite a bit, got rid of some of that higher kind of fizziness. You know, both are fine, but I kind of added some of that fizziness back in using our tilt EQ, as we'll see in a second. Let's go up to the tilt EQ. So without it, we heard this already. Let's bring that tilt EQ in. Again, with it off. See, it just adds a little bit more of that high end in there. Now, I could also go with a more subtle setting on that. So you can't see how that's going to really help it to cut through in the mix, okay? So that was a nice addition. And then a little tiny touch of delay. So that was the final sound I had right there with the delay and without, you heard. So I was really liking that. Like I said, I'm going to have a preset up in Marketplace with much more to it. 6 presets, all with different varying stages of gain to it, or ranges of gain, right? From mid all the way up to like super extreme. But I'm really liking this amp model, and I hope a lot of you folks will like. I'm sure a lot of you folks will like it too. But so this one will be up on Custom Tone. Go check out the performance video I did for using this for Sad But True by Metallica. The thing about it is Sad But True is tuned down a full step. This is just standard tuning, but my tone, obviously, compared to the record, doesn't have as much bottom end. I did that kind of on purpose. You know, if you did want to add more of that bottom end, you could even come over to the resonance control here and crank that up. Let's listen to that. You know, or you could decide to come in and just bring the bright control back here on the tilting. You know, a lot of it's going to be left up to personal preference. I also want to show you, actually, before we go, what the aggression control does. So I'll put it down to 0. On 1. And 2. okay? So you can hear the nice subtle difference there, but man, lots of flexibility with this amp model, and I'm really pumped about it. You know, when 2.8 was first announced, it's not the thing I was most excited about, but now that I try it, man, oh man, this is it's a really great addition to the Helix, and a lot of the guys who are looking for good heavy tones are gonna be really happy with this. So, all right guys, so thanks for tuning in so much. Really hope you like this. Go to Custom Tone and grab this one. Check out Marketplace for my kind of more in-depth preset that'll be available up there, and check out my performance video for using this preset untouched in the mix for a little version snippet from Sad But True by Metallica. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a lot more stuff for 2.8 firmware coming out real soon. Within the next day and in the coming days, actually. So stay tuned for that. And again, thanks for tuning in. Share the video with anybody you think would like to see it, and like it if you don't mind, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thanks so much for the support, guys. I'll be back soon. Ciao for now.